Appreciate everybody being here to our Madison County Fiscal Court meeting on September 27th, 2022. At this time, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Clerk Barger, if you will, please call the roll.
Mr. Robinson?
Here.
Mr. Berger?
Here.
Mr. Tudor?
Here.
Mr. Bucket?
Present.
Judge Taylor?
Here. At this time, I'd like to invite my friend Floyd Price up to lead us in a word of prayer. Appreciate you being here.
Let's pray together. Father, we're thankful for the gift of this day, aware that every day is a gift from you, and we ask that you will bless us in it. We pray that you will be present with each member of our court. We ask, Lord, that you would guide them in the power of your Holy Spirit. Grant that all that is decided and done would be for the benefit of our people, that it might be right and righteous. So we ask that you will bless this meeting in the name of Christ our Savior. Amen.
Amen. Sheriff, if you will, lead us in the pledge.
Everyone, would please stand and face their flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Thanks, Floyd. Thank you, Sheriff. Appreciate y'all being here today. Next is our approval of our meeting minutes. It was our meeting that was on September the 13th, 2022. I need a motion and a second to approve.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Berger?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Bucket?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. It's our fourth Tuesday court meeting, so today's our treasurer's report. Good morning, Glenna.
Good morning. The financial statement through 8/31/2022 is in your Dropbox, and it is available to the public. You can contact my office through email, and we'll email you a copy anytime. The fund balance as of August 31st, 2022, total fund balance is $33,190,975.45. Our general fund revenues are at 17.6%, and our expenditures are at 11.2%. Our road fund revenues are at 47%, and our expenditures are at 10%. Our jail fund revenues are at 27.7%, and our expenditures are at 15.9%. The LGEA fund, our revenues are at 17.1%, and our expenditures are at 1.9%. CSEP fund, our revenues are at 2.7%, our expenditures are at 2.3%. Our health fund, our revenues are at 14.8%, and our expenditures are at 18.8%. 911 fund, our revenues are at 17.1%, our expenditures are at 12.3%. And the clerk fund, our revenues are at 4.7%, and our expenditures are at 0%. Does anybody have any questions about the report or the?
Will you read 911 again, please, Glenna?
Yes, 911 was 17.1% on revenues and 12.3% on expenditures.
Our health fund,
Yeah, our health
normal?
fund, we had a lot of claims hit in July. Some of those claims were stop-loss claims, and so we had money deposited in June, and then it was written back out in July, so it fell over the fiscal year.
Okay.
So we had the money, the extra percentage that was spent out in July, we actually received in June.
Okay.
So it's in the surplus,
Yeah,
not
so
in
it
revenues.
makes it a little bit lopsided because
Yes,
of the
not in
timing.
revenues for
Okay.
this year.
All right, good, thank you. Any questions from court?
Glenna, the clerk fund is something we just started recently.
That is a brand new fund that is set up by statute now. As of July 1st, we had to set that up. Kenny's office used to handle their own clerk storage fees, but now by statute, the fiscal court has to handle them. So Kenny turns in at the end of each month, he turns in the storage fees, we put it in there, and then he gives us invoices to pay out. Now, those invoices do not go through court. Those are set up by statute that they are, can be written out as soon as the clerk says what to
Okay.
pay them on.
All right. I hope that's a little more trouble in Kenny or not.
Well, no, it took, gosh, I don't know, 6 months or so to get started on this, and then we had the Judges Master Association. Not all counties run like ours do. Everybody trusts people are doing what they're supposed to. So that money was set aside so that we could save up money to do projects with, like back scanning, buying equipment, that kind of thing. smaller counties, it was getting turned over every year. So you didn't know how much you were gonna get. You couldn't save it up, so basically it was just going back to the counties, and that was not the spirit of the statute. That document fee was supposed to be to help the recording rooms. So this was a compromise between the Clerks Association and the Judge Association and the legislature. I think it's working out good. It is here anyway.
Works fine.
We're not having any problem with it.
What are we storing, Kitty?
It's a fee on every document that we record. So it's, because our fees we adjusted our fees a little bit, we're still cheaper than every state around us. But, you know, we've gotta keep those documents forever. So the longer we stay here, the more space it's gonna take, that kind of thing. So we were able to get that $10 storage fee in there
Yes.
for the perpetuity of.
So are these digital?
Well, they're same way we record it now. Yeah, we record, you have to have two forms.
Right.
Either electronic and digital or film. You've got to have two forms of each document.
All right, any questions for Glenn on the treasurer's report? All right, hearing none. Thanks, Glenn.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. All right, we have a lot of special guests today, and our first order of business is an update for our state representative, Bill Wesley, from the 91st District. Bill, we're glad to have you. Appreciate you reaching out.
Thank you for having me. I won't be long. Just want to thank you all for having me today and being able to come over here and work more of Madison County. I used to be over Breathitt, Owsley, Lee, and Waco County.
Yeah.
And the reason I call Waco a county is because I want to treat them the same as any other county I would. So having that precinct, so now I have the northern and central part of Madison, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you. I brought some cards to give to you in case anybody needs to reach out to me about anything. It's been good to work with John on some projects, but good to see our sheriff back there. Tomorrow, our sheriff will be over at the Capitol with us with their canine unit. And so I invited all of our officers and Sheriff's Department to VMAP, which is Veteran Military Affairs and Public Protection. And so I'm on that committee along with Tourism and Natural Resources. So anything that pertains to the state through them committees, I'll be the one that I will have some kind of connection with that. But anyways, it's going to be good to work with Sheriff Coyle, which they've already been putting me in the bite suit and kind of practicing me, getting me warmed up for that. But anyways, it's been good. And so looking forward to working with them. We have a House bill that we've been trying to work on in the state for canine officers, all the units in the state. Not only that, but we're going to be working with him and along with our superintendent, David Gillum. We're going to be trying to get an SRO House bill because we know that there's pressure on the state in some of our counties with being required that they're going to have an SRO for each school. So we're going to try to come up with some kind of game plan strategy to get the funding for that, and Sheriff Coyle will be helping me along with that and trying to get that bill to be produced. But anyways, if there's any questions for me, we're also the 5th and the 6th of this of October, we're going to be having a fishing project, which I've been working with Commissioner Rich Storm. We're going to be stocking some bass in the Kentucky River, trying to get our kids involved, our FFA programs. The reason being, there's been such a disrespect for our law enforcement and our veterans. So I've invited them to come along and help the kids stock these fish in there to give them a different perception. Commissioner Storm is going to be at one of our gatherings, either the 5th or the 6th, and that way that he could talk to the kids too. If we can point them kids not only in law enforcement but maybe in the biology, to have a wildlife biologist and to get them interested, to spark up the interest, get them out of the house, get them involved in the outdoors. So that's our game plan on that. We got some things that we're trying to do with our kids in the state, trying to get them involved and trying to get them into careers. But my goal is to change the perception in my district, what has been displayed throughout our nation. And so I honor our law enforcement, our military, our veterans. Myself being a Marine Corps veteran, I honor our nation. So, but at this time, I'm going to break the rules, if that's all right, Judge. I'm going to ask you to come down, and I got something for you.
Here it goes.
And I'm going to ask his wife, Kelly, to come. She's probably wondering why this is going on.
I'm just obedient, I was told to be here.
I'm going to ask his mom to come on up. She's the one that got this going. Yeah,
We know.
this is all right. Is this all right, John?
Yeah, absolutely. Go right ahead.
So I'd like to honor our judge and his wife today, and this fine mother here, she's always bragging on her son, and so we came up with some kind of game plan today to put this together to honor them on their 21st anniversary. So I'm going to read this to them. To Reagan and Kelly Taylor, the celebration of the 21 years of beloved companionship constitutes an exceptional marriage. This honorable body holds in high esteem the extraordinary abilities of the devoted couple to cultivate and nurture a loving family and cherish friendships. Representative Bill Wesley recognizes these rare and unique virtues in Reagan and Kelly Taylor and joins with their family and friends in wishing them many future years of happiness of fulfillment. So I'd like to say something real quick. Everywhere I go, if I meet this guy, she's with me. And so not only that they're a married couple, but they're best friends. If you go to the gym, you'll see them at the gym working out together. If you see them at an event, they're always there. And so I just wanted to honor them today. Appreciate it.
Good deal.
Now, I'm doing the right thing as a husband.
I'd like to give you guys a couple of these.
Thank you,
I
Bill.
think I've got one, Bill, but if you don't have enough, I've got one.
Okay. Thank you.
You haven't changed the numbers, have you?
No, sir.
All
No,
right,
sir.
we're good then.
Do you guys have any questions? I'm supposed to be meeting with the city in a couple of weeks about some roads. We have already met with them and talked to them about some state roads and projects coming up. We're gonna try to get together with you guys if we can, maybe for a breakfast, and go over some road projects that's coming up in the future. So anyways, I don't know if you guys have any questions.
So, Bill, I got a quick question, and I appreciate you, with the roads. I can tell you if I get 100 phone calls, 99 of those phone calls are over that constituent's most important road, and that's the one they drive on every single day.
Yeah.
So, I appreciate, you working with us on the roads and all that stuff. The question I have is, back in February, we had a magistrate's day where the magistrates, all went up there and met with, our local
Yeah.
representatives and this, that, and the other. I'm curious, if you could tell me what happened to, I think it was House Bill 220. It was the House bill that would help reimburse counties for inmates that were held and incarcerated for time served.
Yeah.
And that was something from the state. I'm curious, what happened to that particular bill, and is there any, traction potentially in the next, General Assembly for that to, be brought back up?
Well, we go through literally hundreds of House bills that passed.
Right.
That's not counting the other hundreds that are discarded and no traction is made on them. I've had several House bills pass last session, and they didn't get over to Senate, or they was vetoed. So I will look into 220 and get back with you on that, if that's okay.
Yeah, that'd be great. I believe that was the number.
Yeah, that one you're talking, I'm not sure the number, but the one you're talking about, I don't think it did pass.
Right.
Yeah, I just filed one yesterday. It's a BR 290, and what that is, it's going to be an exemption for our National Guard. Now, I just was with our guys, and I'm a chaplain over several departments in 5 counties, and so I appreciate the prayer before you guys even began, because I believe that's important in our lives, putting the Lord first. But working with the National Guard and our military, a lot of people thinks that the National Guard is part of the Army, And I look at that they are. These guys, they're over there in Kosovo right now taking shots from the Taliban. And I believe that they can go overseas and fight for our country and our nation, then they should be able to be entitled to the same benefits as Army or the Marine Corps or anybody else that's serving in our armed forces. So we just filed a House bill yesterday. It's BR 290, and that's going to give them an exemption on some of the vehicle place or things that they're going through. But any small thing that we could do, my goal, my vision as a representative is to bring us closer in unity in our district, but also to be number one in the state for our veterans and military, and or for our state to be number one in the nation. And if we can give more benefits to our veterans, I believe that's very important right now, to lift them up. I mean, they got a tough job. A lot of people, right now we see this generation is seeing a different perception on our law enforcement and our veterans. So any little thing or big House bill that I could do to be part of to honor our veterans and to bring benefits in their lives, I'm going to try to do that.
So I'd like to just add on to that. I would appreciate if you would touch bases with Representative Frazier. I have asked her to examine the options to give 100% combat disabled veterans 100% exemption on the property tax.
That's already been done.
Good.
So I could give you information on that. And what I did, I visited our VFWs throughout our district. And like I said, every 10 years for the state representatives, congressional, they go through redistricting. So I lost Waco County, but I gained more of northern and central parts of Madison. And so there's now 4 representatives in Madison County instead of 5. We lost Ryan Dotson to over at Fayette County. So there had to be a shift due to the population. So every 10 years, there's a redistricting for all the representatives in the state. So I lost breath at Owsley and Lee. And at that time, I passed out what you was stating, that the KRS statute that gives all of our benefits information, how they can file that and apply to be 100% exempt from their, it's a Homestead Act. And so if we can help them in little things like that, they was penalized. If they was deployed to go to war, they was penalized by their insurance company because they didn't have insurance. Just little things like that. And why would you want to burden a family or anybody like that when they're deployed and fighting for their nation? So we've been trying to look in and asking them, what do you want us to do as your representatives? And so, anything we could do to better them and make their life easier especially while they're deployed fighting overseas for us, I think that should be a good thing for us to do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Any other questions? Thank you, Bill.
Thanks for coming.
Appreciate it.
Thank you all so much. You have a wonderful day and congratulations.
Thank you, my man. Appreciate it a lot. Means a lot.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda is a proclamation. Every year we recognize Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we have a joint proclamation with the City of Richmond, City of Berea, and our Madison County government. Whereas domestic violence has no place in our society, and we have a moral obligation to support the victims and their children while putting into place strategies for preventing it in the future. And whereas domestic violence destroys lives and damages the dignity of men, women, and children. And whereas Domestic Violence Awareness Month is an opportunity to emphasize our commitment to ending domestic violence in our community. And whereas a home should be the ultimate place for safety, comfort, and love. Domestic violence shatters these basic foundations of life. We are strongly committed to addressing domestic violence and helping those who have been victimized. And whereas during Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we are grateful for the agencies and individuals providing care to those affected by these acts of cruelty, and to law enforcement and the court system for bringing offenders to justice. By working together, we can build a community where every home honors the value and dignity of its loved ones. Now therefore, the Madison County Fiscal Court, the City of Richmond, and the City of Berea do hereby proclaim October 2022 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Richmond, Berea, and to all of Madison County. We urge all citizens to reach out to victims and help end domestic violence.
Turns out I'm significantly shorter than Representative Wesley, so let me not turn this over. Thank you very much for having me. I feel like it was just yesterday that I was here, but turns out another year has gone by and I have to stand up here again to raise awareness about domestic violence. It makes me sad. October is obviously a busy month, as you'll see with Baptist Health here today, and we're honored to share that month with breast cancer awareness. It turns out to be a significant women's awareness month, although domestic violence affects more than women. And that is becoming increasingly more evident today too, as we're seeing a lot more men who are also victims of domestic violence. Now, I'm here today to talk about awareness because we do have some events that are coming up in our county to raise awareness. But I think before I do that, I want to recognize that in Kentucky, domestic violence is still very much an issue. Last year, I think we had 52 Kentuckians who lost their lives due to domestic violence. As of today, there are 68. The youngest being 10 years old and the oldest being 78, I believe. So domestic violence affects a huge amount of people across all age groups, across all socioeconomic backgrounds. It is frightening, and it's the best kept secret, right? We don't hear a lot about domestic violence, and unfortunately we have to have a month that is raising awareness because we don't hear about it all year long. People keep it secret. So we want to raise awareness. We appreciate the county's support that we've had all of these years. Fiscal Court has been fantastic. Both cities have been fantastic in supporting Hope Swings in the work that we do. And we were able to put together a Blueprint for Safety team that all of you all, I think, are aware of now. We've got the Madison County Blueprint for Safety. We're fortunate to have Jenny's office and Wendy's 911 and lots of the law enforcement and prosecutors' offices that come together. We come together quarterly to talk about domestic violence in our county and review cases and how we can prosecute those crimes better, and I think our team works fairly well. Jenny, would you say our team works well?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm going to pick on Jenny since she's sitting up here next to me today, and because she's on the team and she's on my board, so I'm going to pick on her a lot. But thank you for your support. We appreciate all that the county does for us. So this month we have a proclamation signing. Yes, you read it today, but you know that we come together at the beginning of every October for lunch on us or on our great community who donates lunch, but I chase it, so
Yeah.
I'll take the credit for that. But we'll have lunch at City Hall. This year we're going to have it at Berea City Hall. Mayor Fraley had asked if we could start alternating the cities when we do awareness events, and I love that idea. So we're going to have lunch at City Hall at Berea this year on October the 3rd. So that's Monday at 11 a.m. And Judge Taylor, it should be on your schedule.
It is.
So come. Kelly, make sure he wears a purple tie. Okay? So lunch on us. I think Nightjar, which is a fantastic new restaurant in Berea, I don't know if you're all familiar with it, has donated all of our lunches for that. So we will read the proclamation again, and we'll invite the community to sign it, because we invite community members, community leaders, everybody. I hope you come, Blake. But come, we will do this all over again, and you'll hear from me again, and I'll have something to say. But we'll ask everybody to sign with us and to just network a little bit and eat lunch. And we enjoy that. It's usually a great turnout when we have it here in Richmond. It's pretty much standing room only, and people are even out in the lobby. So I hope we get as good a turnout in Berea. So please drive to Berea. It's a beautiful drive, and hopefully the weather will be great. Kelly, come, okay? And Mom, come. We'd love to have you. And then we do our annual These Hands Don't Hurt rally, and that is going to be on October the 11th this year at the courthouse. So we will set up information tables, because Madison County is rich with resources for its, for the populations of people that might need them. We have, substance abuse treatment. We've got food pantries, and we've got mental health providers, and we've just got this valuable network of resources. And so we like to showcase that. Hope Swings isn't the only game in town, and I will never pretend to be. So we invite our community partners to come and set up information tables so we can let our community know what we've got there. And then we will recognize those 68 people that have lost their lives. And it could be more by the time the rally hits, but we will recognize those people on that evening, and we will also recognize people in the community who don't use violence in their relationships. That's important, right? Whenever we're talking about domestic violence awareness, we should also recognize the people who don't use violence in their relationships. So that's what the These Hands Don't Hurt rally is about, ultimately, is recognizing those folks. And so we invite you all to come out too. Hopefully the weather will be great. I've checked the almanac and it says that it could be. So we'll do that, and it'll take an hour of your time. And we'll just get together as a community and raise awareness about a pretty significant cause that affects us. We fortunately did not have anybody in Madison County this year who lost their lives to domestic violence. Last year we had 2. And so we want to keep that work up here. We want to become a safer and safer community, and we can't do it without all of you and without all of you. And so we appreciate any support and help that you could be for us that month, or this month.
That's good.
So thank you. I appreciate you.
Jennifer, we walked in together and I shared with you my thoughts on the way in, what an awesome job you do out there. I don't know how long you've been there, but ever since I can remember, that I don't know, you're the original director at Hope Swings?
Nope. I
Okay.
started there as an EKU social work student,
Okay,
but I've been there since 2009.
It's an undisclosed location, and that's good to protect the people that are involved there. And I've been by several times and picked up residents to go to church with, take them to church, and so it's a wonderful location. You do a great job operating, and it's so much needed for the community, and safe house for people in domestic violence. And I appreciate you and continue the good work you're doing there.
Thank you, I appreciate it. And I'll see you at the rally because you're there every year, so I know I can count on seeing your face there. So
Thanks, Jen.
we'll be there. Thank you. Any other questions from anybody before I?
Any? Let's do it.
We're good. You don't know how much I love it. That's my favorite part. I'd like to be the background, please, instead of the person.
We looking for something?
We can work together.
Yeah, we'll work together. Just kind of like
Look
level
between
us
them.
up, centers. All right. So Kenny, could you scooch over to the right? Thank you. All right, Jill, you good?
Yep.
Me too.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
You'll get that 1,000 times today. Every.
And for those that didn't know, that was Jennifer Lanehart. I don't know if we ever said her name, and I apologize, Jennifer. But most everybody knows Jennifer, and we really appreciate all the work that she does in our community. Next, we have another proclamation, and it's also Paint the Town Pink Month, and we have a lot of special guests here with us from Baptist Health Richmond. And Sarah, as you're coming up, I will read the proclamation. And this is another joint proclamation for Baptist Health Richmond with the Madison County Fiscal Court and the City of Richmond. Whereas October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Madison County and the City of Richmond enthusiastically join the national initiative to fight breast cancer on the local front with energy, devotion, and compassion. And whereas the promise of Baptist Health is to save lives and increase awareness of breast cancer by empowering people, ensuring quality care for all, and energizing science to find the cure. And whereas the battle with breast cancer is ongoing, we urge all women to practice monthly self-exams and women over the age of 40 to have a yearly mammogram. And whereas Madison County and the City of Richmond honors and recognizes breast cancer survivors who have triumphed over their devastating disease, their courage and spirit are inspirations to us. Now therefore, the Madison County Fiscal Court and the City of Richmond do hereby proclaim the month of October as Paint the Town Pink Month in recognition of breast cancer awareness in Madison County and the City of Richmond, Kentucky, and urge all citizens to join the fight to promote breast health awareness and to find a cure for breast cancer. Sarah?
Thank you, Judge Taylor, and thank you, Court, for having us this morning. I'll echo what Jennifer said a little bit ago. It feels like I was just here last month, but here we are. It's been a year, and you all have graciously welcomed us back to the court to recognize Paint the Town Pink. In 2009, Paint the Town Pink began strictly as an opportunity for us to create awareness in this community for breast cancer awareness, breast cancer prevention, and education. And here we are 14 years later, and we're still celebrating and honoring Paint the Town Pink, and it wouldn't be possible without the community support. Baptist Health is very honored to be in the role that we are, that we helped to lead this campaign, but Paint the Town Pink is truly a community campaign. We have members from our hospital here with us this morning, from our foundation. We have representatives from Surge, screen printing and embroidery. We have wonderful members on our committee, everyone from Bechtel to the Boutique at Merle Norman to Soft Shoe, who truly make Paint the Town Pink such a successful event. And here we are 14 years later. The campaign's been able to donate over $120,000 to support cancer care in our community. And it is about awareness, it's about prevention, but it's also about having access to high quality cancer care. And we're so fortunate at Baptist Health Richmond, we are able to provide that. And it's something that we feel very called to be able to continue to provide. We want to encourage our community to step alongside us in this campaign as we continue to move forward, and we're excited. For this Friday, we'll be kicking off the campaign at the hospital at noon. So we invite everyone in the community to come out and join us. This is the first time in 2 years we've been able to have the campaign kickoff in person. So it will be at Baptist Health in Richmond here at noon on Saturday. A big part of the campaign is our Paint the Town Pink shirts, and we're so thankful for Surge, who prints those every year for us. They go on sale this Friday at the Boutique at Merle Norman and Soft Shoe. So we encourage everyone to go out and purchase a shirt. Some people say, well, I've had 2, 3 other Paint the Town Pink shirts. Thank you for those purchases, but your purchase still matters, because 100% of the proceeds raised through Paint the Town Pink stays right here in Madison County to support our residents, our neighbors, our family members. And it supports our patients who come through Baptist Health Richmond. Last year we were able to initiate a new patient assistance fund. So those patients who come through our hospital who may not have transportation or access to medications, or those extra supplemental things that they need to help their cancer journey, we're able to provide those needs now. So again, thank you all for being here. I could talk a long time about Paint the Town Pink. It's something I'm very passionate about. It's something that we all have been impacted by in some form or fashion. And I just invite you all to join us. And we thank you all for the support that we've had for 13 years, and we're excited for year 14 moving forward. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, Sarah. Would you mind introducing just all your group?
Sure,
And
yeah.
y'all go ahead and stand up. I'm sorry, but we're gonna get a picture anyway.
First, I want to introduce Casey McKean from Surge. Casey is the mastermind behind our shirts, and we could not do the campaign without her. So, Casey, thank you for being here. Mary Lindsay Merrill is our Director of Cancer Care and Outpatient Infusion at Baptist Health Richmond. Carrie Martin is our Director of the Foundation at Baptist Health Richmond. And also I want to introduce Caroline Kinsman. She is our new student extern at Baptist Health Richmond, and she is working behind the scenes to make sure this is a successful event. So thank you all for being here. And I have to, and Vicki Frisbee. She's our oncology nurse navigator at Baptist Health Richmond.
Just real quick, and I tried to reduce the amount of talking by not saying it earlier when Jennifer was here and she's left. But I would like to say, I have the honor and the privilege of serving, as Jennifer said, on the Hope's Wings Domestic Violence Board, but also on the Baptist Health Richmond Board. And this community is truly blessed with everybody, Jennifer and everyone working at domestic violence, Sarah and Carrie and Mary, everybody, Vicki at the hospital, everybody at the hospital. I mean, they are so dedicated to really trying to grow in this community and bring, tools and services and care to everybody. That it's truly an honor and a real blessing to see all that work, just from sitting back and watching on the board and seeing what's going on. So the community's really blessed with all of them, and we very much appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Jenny.
Well, here, I guess, does it look odd to be over here? It does, somebody.
Sarah, you should receive this. No. You should. Sarah, get a little tighter.
Hold on, I just have that. I
I'm a terrible photographer. I mean, we're a one-man show right now, so that's what we are. That'll work, okay.
Yeah. All right, good stuff. Next is Resolution 2022-116. This is the Valley View Ferry Board appointment. A resolution for the appointment of Madison County Fiscal Court to the Valley View Ferry Board, whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is responsible for the appointment of Valley View Ferry Board members, and whereas the Valley View Ferry Board has a vacant board member position, and whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court has found Mark Ellis is fit for the position as board member of the Valley View Ferry Board. Now therefore be it resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve Mark Ellis as a Valley View Ferry Board member. I need a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2022-116.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Master Barter?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Botkin?
Yes.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Good morning, Dustin.
Morning, everybody.
Next is Resolution 2022-117, Emergency Management Agency Fire Tanker Truck Bid Award.
Yes. Resolution 2022-117, a resolution awarding a bid for the Emergency Management Agency to purchase a fire department tanker truck. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is required to approve of all bids for projects in accordance with the administrative code, and whereas the Madison County EMA requests bids for the purchase of a fire department tanker truck, and whereas the bid notice was properly posted and one sealed bid was received within the specified time in the bid posting, and whereas the tanker truck will continue to elevate our fire department service now and into the future. It will not only support Madison County Fire, but our volunteer fire departments and partner agencies who we work with in Richmond and Berea to deliver mutual aid for water capacity and fire service. And whereas the Madison County Emergency Management Agency wishes to award the bid to purchase a tanker truck to Atlantic Fire Emergency Solutions Incorporated, or Pierce Manufacturing Incorporated, for a total of $534,722. And whereas through a federal grant program, CSEP will contribute a minimum of $300,000 of this total, with the county's remaining portion being paid upon delivery of the truck, which is estimated to be 24 months from the execution of the contract. Now therefore it be resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve this resolution and authorizes the judge executive and/or his designee to execute the same on behalf of the county.
Thank you, Dustin. Do I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2022-117?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just to add one thing, Judge. So the big reason CSEP is able to contribute some funds to this purchase is because one of the main things we need at our field decon sites, if ever was needed, is water supply. That is probably the one thing that we bring. We bring everything else to those sites, but water is what we got to have to keep that facility running throughout an event. So that's why tanker trucks are so important to our operation.
That's good.
Dustin, I'm sure that you've coordinated with Chief Gray and he's all on board with this and something that the county will be able to use also. What is the capacity of this tanker truck?
2,500 gallons.
How much?
2,500. Yes, so to answer your question, Magistrate Tudor, absolutely. The Chief has been involved the whole time in this process. So it's the design that I think they wanted, and that they wanted. It's not what we discussed. They picked what they needed and made it fit for what we have to do as well.
Well, I appreciate you both working together and kind of spreading the cost out among the two entities.
truck, Magistrate Tudor, has been about a 2.5 year in the making process. We got with our mechanics to road department and seen what we needed for the county, and this truck set up, it's a tandem axle truck. Normally, they put these trucks out with about 4,000 gallon of water on them, and we had this one set up for 2,500. That way it can scale across our bridges, we can get anywhere we need to go in the county. And then it also is a pump op, 1,500 GPM pump that classifies it for ISO ratings. So if we ever wanna put it in a station somewhere by itself or need to fill in somewhere, we can. And of course, we cover so much interstate, and we also take tankers to City of Richmond if there's anything on the interstate, and this truck's really needed for the water supply. But the reason we had it set up with the tandem axle is most of our younger generation don't drive much bigger than a small pickup truck. And the safety aspect, this has 6 braking tires on it, 3 axles, brakes on all 3 axles to make it a safer quality vehicle for them to be responding in.
That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah, as you can see, court members, that our team puts a lot of thought and going above and beyond, even outside their own departments. I mean, utilizing the expertise in our road garage with Scott and Shane, and EMA CSEP directors working with our chiefs. So, Tom?
Were you able to work out the clause in the contract there about the delivery
Yes.
dates?
Yes, we were. We'll address that in the contract. It'll be addressed exactly in there.
Okay.
Yep.
Good. And Judge, do we have 200,000 earmarked basically for our part of that?
We do. Of course, we have 2 years, right? We won't have to pay for this, and so we're already setting money back and aside for that. Absolutely. And that's another thing that, we've been working on this for some time, but it's not in the budget because it's not gonna be paid out in this budget. And so we'll work on, I actually already started setting money back, and then when we know it's coming, we'll know when it'll be put in that budget year.
Good.
Yep. All right, any other comments or questions? All right, we do have a motion and a second, so hearing no more discussion, call the roll, please.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bodkin?
Yes.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks for everybody's work on this. All right, next is the resolution 2022-118. This is a CAECO insurance grant program application.
A resolution for application and administration of the 2022 CAECO Insurance Grant Program funds, whereas members of the CAECO Workers' Compensation Fund or the CAECO All Lines funds are currently being invited to apply for grants for future purchases designed to help members reduce losses in connection with either of these 2 insurance funds. And whereas eligible grant activities include purchases of equipment, training, or consulting services, as well as property improvements intended to reduce the risk of personal injury. And whereas these 2022 CAECO insurance funds are limited to a maximum reimbursement of $10,000. And whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court, Kentucky desires to make an application for the 2022 CAECO Insurance Grant Funds programs to address any number of the following categories: slip, trip, and fall hazards, lifting injuries, auto accidents, jail operations, and cyber breaches. And whereas the County of Madison, Kentucky wishes to authorize the judge executive and/or his designee to make the application for the 2022 CAECO Insurance Grant Funds, and if the application is successful, to enter into an agreement with CAECO to administer this award, to execute any documents which are deemed necessary to facilitate or administer this award, to act as the authorized correspondent for this award. And whereas the 2022 CAECO Insurance Grant is a competitive program and the amount of grant funding Madison County will receive, if any, will not be known until the grant awards are made by CAECO. And whereas Madison County will be required to contribute an additional 20% to any grant awarded. Now therefore it be resolved on this 27th day of September 2022 by Madison County, Kentucky, the judge executive and/or his designee is hereby authorized to execute and furnish all required documentation, including memorandums of agreements, as may be required for the furtherance of this above referenced project, and to act as the authorized correspondent for said project.
Motion to approve resolution 2022-118, Judge.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Thank you, Jill. Any discussion?
Judge, I think you're aware of it, the rest of the court may not be aware of it, but I sit on the CAECO All Lines Fund, which is a board that interviews or looks over the insurance claims in Frankfurt and makes a decision whether we need to pay this claim or whether we need to send it to court for their hearing on it. And some of the members, not only of EMA but other agencies, had brought to our attention that we're getting a lot of claims on lifting injuries, not only to the patient but to the ambulance people, the first responders, whoever showed up at the scene, were injuring themselves by lifting sometimes overweight people and not having good handle on carrying those people out, injuries, accidents, or whatever. So they've designed a body suit or equipment that you strap around the person, and it has handles on it, so you have equal lifting ability, and everybody is more safe, and everybody's pulling their own weight. You don't have situations where somebody, either the patient or the emergency people are injured. And this is part of that grant money that is available for that, and I'm really big on this. And the counties that have participated really are approving this suit and telling how good it is, so I'm all for this. I think it's a good idea.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Anyone else? All right, hearing none, call the roll.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. All right, next, personnel and finance. Just Glenna?
Good morning. I would like to recommend to the fiscal court to hire Haley Cox as a finance clerk in the finance office. Proposed salary is $18 an hour and start date is 9/28/2022. And the interview committee was myself, Melanie Johnson, Angel Powell, and Morgan Elliston.
And we
And Haley
have
is here
Haley's
today.
Yeah. Hi, Haley. All right, upon Glenna's recommendation, do I have a motion and a second?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All right, hearing none, call the roll.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thank you, Haley. Glad to have you. Next, personnel in the animal shelter. Katie. I was about to say Scott, but
Okay, so we're excited to recommend to the fiscal court the hiring of Monica Taylor, she goes by Joy, as the position of animal control officer working out of the animal shelter. The proposed salary is $15 an hour and the start date would be 10/6/2022. The interview committee consisted of myself, Morgan Elliston, and Lieutenant Allen.
all right, Joy, if you don't mind standing. All right, upon Katie's recommendation, do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Just for the record, Kenny, I just want everyone to know that last name Taylor doesn't mean they're kin to me, and so there is no kin. So, all right, any other discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thank you,
Thank
Katie.
you.
Thank you, Joy.
Thank you.
Look forward to working with you.
Welcome aboard, Joe.
Next is personnel and IT. No, next personnel and road department. Good morning, Scott.
Morning. I was so excited to have somebody to hire, I wanted to jump up here. I would like to recommend William Gallagher as a general labor, full-time, $14 an hour, start date 9/28/2022. And the hiring committee was myself, Shane Poff, and Tim Gray.
Thanks, Scott. On Scott's recommendation, do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Scott, quick question.
Yes.
With the addition of, adding a general laborer, has that helped, your department?
Yeah, it really helps in the summertime because we don't need all CDL drivers
That's right.
to do the work, so we still got enough people to drive our trucks and get our equipment to the locations. and these gentlemen can fill in and actually do the physical labor.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, it is really helping. We've hired one, previous few weeks ago, and he took over on the mowing crew, so he's mowing full-time, and probably where this gentleman will end up, and then that will free my CDL driver up.
Right.
Instead of riding a lawnmower, he can drive his truck.
So when you look at the roads department, where are we as far as, you know, percentage of full staffing?
We're still 6 people short.
Okay, okay.
How many CDL drivers short though, too?
6.
6, okay.
Okay.
Scott, Mr. Gallagher, is that someone maybe can train for CDL license, or is he not interested in the future?
Morgan and I are working on that right now. I don't know if everybody knows this, but the federal government changed the laws on CDL license. You actually have to attend a 40-hour course before you're qualified to get your driving permit now. So we don't have anyone in this county who is teaching that course. The state road department is actually sending theirs to a school in Lexington. I think Judge and I talked to Kelly Baker. Their average cost is around $5,000 to get somebody's license, and then we've not come up with any type of ideas or guarantees of how we would get them to commit to stay with us, or what the penalties would be, or it's really a touchy situation since they've changed this law. So Morgan and I are working with some people right now to maybe get an instructor in this county to where we could send them here local to get their permit. And then after that, we could continue to train them and take them to apply for their CDLs.
Is that something, Scott, that would fall, that we could do as a train-the-trainer kind of deal?
I don't think we have anybody on our staff that is qualified to be the trainer, but I think we're thinking maybe the new vocational school may have somebody, or we're reaching out to actually a neighboring county that is wanting to provide a trainer. So we have got meetings set up, and we will be going forward to try to get a resolution in place to correct this problem.
Good deal.
Is this pretty much a set cost, 5,000 or so?
It depends on the school you send them to. I think the $5,000 one is local in Lexington, so it allows their employees to not have to drive as far. There's schools all across the country, and I've heard of them being as much as $8,000.
I understand where you're coming from, that if there's not some kind of commitment to stay employed with you guys, they get your CDLs and then move on somewhere else, and we're out $5,000 for the training.
The feedback I'm getting from the state right now is they are sending these people, they're getting them to sign a 2-year contract, and everybody's leaving in 6 months, and they're not having any luck doing anything about it. So the larger companies have sign-on bonuses, and they offer them $8,000–10,000 to go ahead and leave their position and come to work for them. So it's really a competitive market right now. I'm not sure that, you know, we can get in to paying those prices and then not having the guarantee that we can keep them.
Well, I can say from an industry standpoint, and that's one that I'm in, is that, you know, right now, you know, you look across the United States and we have anywhere between $300,000 and $500,000 deficit in CDL drivers, by the way. The average age of a CDL holder and over-the-road truck driver is about 55 years of age. And I know the company that I work for, we did a in-house school, and we had 3 folks, and the cost, you know, to train each one of those was between $8,000 and $10,000. So it's, you know, it's problematic, and we've done the same thing in my industry where we've given $10,000 to $15,000 sign-on bonuses, and people, you know, will be there for 6 weeks, and then they go work for, you know, the Walmarts, the J.B. Hunts, or whatever the case may be. So it's a very competitive and tough market, and one that, you know, I think that we're doing the right thing and looking to try to be creative and to fill those positions to where we don't have the, you know, the deficits and have to look at, you know, the Band-Aids that we've been using that have been working. For example, in the hiring of seasonal folks to, you know, fill those positions and get the job, get the roads plowed and iced, and snow removal and all that kind of stuff. So it's a tough industry right now. It's a tough.
If you don't mind, if I could add something to that.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this and we've had discussions, and I don't know where we will move to in the future, but we are not paying competitive prices for CDL drivers. And we are requiring our men to also do physical labor.
That's right.
Do the overnight snow removal.
That's right.
Do all these extras, so it's hurting our recruitment. So, I don't know where we'll find a happy medium, but, you know, we're expecting more of our people and paying them less. So
Yeah.
I don't know, there's gotta be an adjustment somewhere down the road.
Well, and maybe, you know, HR looks at that and, you know, to see what that is, because I can tell you that, you know, CDL operators in Lexington, Kentucky start off at about $22, $23 an hour, is a start. And then over 6 months, they get a bump up, then over a year, they get a bump up, so, you know, over time, these folks are making, you know, pushing $30 an hour, with their CDL.
Scott, I think we need to continue to look for maybe part-time CDL drivers. I talked to Mr. Brenninger, was hard on last year to push snow, tickled to death. He said, I can't wait for it to snow. He said, I really enjoyed that. I said, we should bite your tongue, I don't want it. But anyway, he does work on the side for himself, and then, when he can't work and we have a snow, event, he's willing to come and push snow for you guys. So maybe we could get a couple more guys like that. I'm looking every time I'm out and talking to people, so.
Yeah, we do. We have a couple signed up already, and,
Good.
you know, I think worst case scenario, I believe we'll be able to make it with, our clerk's help again. Hopefully somebody will come along and give him a little relief, but we have enough, part-time people and alternate people to where we will be able to do our snow routes this year.
Appreciate what you do. Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
Maybe, Scott, that's something that you and the judge and Morgan to get together and look at the possibility of contracting some of that.
I don't think we can. We have looked at that, just to answer your question, and, as of right now, none of the three major suppliers have any trucks available. If they did, you have to pay them a per truck fee of $30,000 a year, whether they push 1 ounce of snow or not. And then it's so much a mile, and we figured contracting all of it out, and I've done a scenario and analysis on it, and I've got it. It would cost us $980-some odd thousand to just sub out our snow.
Yeah, we've looked at a lot, I mean, we really tried to brainstorm a lot about, you know, how to kind of overcome these challenges, and,
Could you,
it doesn't look good for the contracting out, I can tell you that.
is there a possibility we could just get Kenny a good set of coveralls in? He's gonna be busy.
I'm down there, I
He
started
don't
my
need
truck.
coveralls, cause the heat works in the truck.
Yeah, you don't get out of the
Yeah.
truck. I started my truck the other day and was thinking I'll probably be right back in it again.
Very good.
Thank you, Scott,
Thank you.
appreciate it. I think, at this time, upon Scott's recommendation, no, we've already got a motion in a second, so if no more discussion, call the roll, please.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bakker?
Yes.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is personnel in IT, information technology. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. I'd like to make a recommendation to hire Clay White as GIS manager. Start date is today. We gotta get to work. Proposed salary 75,000.
And your committee was?
Oh, yeah.
Wendy, Burt,
I actually had a
Shane.
great committee, so I'm glad you mentioned this, so I can actually put it on here. Burt Thomas, Wendy Lynch, myself, and Shane New. Shane New was the GIS program manager for Bluegrass Area Development District, and is now the deputy executive up there as well. So he came down and sat on that as a third-party GIS professional to sit through. We had 5 interviews. We had a lot of really qualified individuals that seek this position. So I was very excited to go through those interviews and see their skill sets. And this one has gone full circle. I've been trying to hire Clay for, I don't know, 6, 7 years. And Clay is with us today. You know, life has a strange way of figuring things out for you. And Clay left us for a short time, and I got a phone call on the last day of the applications that he was back in town, and here we are. So we're happy he's here, and he's going to make big moves for us. We're really going to get a lot of things moving. His first order of business is to figure out snow tracks, as we're talking about snow. So that usually takes us quite a bit of time to get going, so that'll be his first order of business. We do have a contract with Megan that'll expire at the end of the month. We'll use the last couple of days on that contract to do a knowledge transfer between Clay and Megan, just to kind of get things settled so he knows where things are and where the data rest, and then be able to move forward from there. So he's going to get started here shortly.
That's good. Thank you, Chris.
Judge.
Jack?
Motion to hire Clay White, GIS manager at 75,000 a year beginning on 9/27/2022.
Second.
Have a motion, second. Any discussion?
I'm very excited.
You sound like it.
If I want to sway, whip any votes here, I'm very excited. Chris and I talked about this the other day, school boards need some help getting their districts lined out.
It's number
And,
2 on the list.
And his name came up, and Chris was like, well, he's got this other job, he's doing this other thing, and then I saw him sitting there this morning, I thought, well, surely to goodness. It didn't work out, and it has, so.
Yeah, Megan said, how in the world did you pull that off? And I said, I don't even know, to be honest with you, but we're very fortunate.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's great. All right, any other discussion? All right, call the roll.
Master Bodkin?
Yes.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Thanks, Clay.
Thank you all.
Welcome
Thanks,
back.
Clay.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome back.
Glad to be back.
So you worked for the county, what, 2012? Up to
Uh,
2012?
I actually started as an intern in 2011.
11?
Worked through 2013.
2013.
Yeah.
Sit here the whole meeting
trying to figure out how I knew
Well, and you might have used to see him on the church stage. He used to sing the praise team at church back in the day too. Yeah. So, yeah. Welcome back, Clay. Looking forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Next is judge's report. Just have a few announcements. It's a busy season. We have a lot of great things coming up in our community. One, that please help the ones that are in this room, the ones that are watching our fiscal court meeting. Please get the word out that our household hazardous waste event is coming up this Saturday. It'll be this coming Saturday, October 1st, and it's from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Madison County Road Department South. That is located at 208 Clarksville Lane. It's just right past the 421-25 split. And there'll be message boards up. There's no way you can miss it. The team does a fantastic job of getting cars in and out. Logistically, you don't have to get out of your car. They unload your car. So old tube TVs, oil-based paints, motor oils, Scott, solvents. I'm trying to remember my little message on that I record on the radio every year. Batteries, fluorescent light bulbs.
Fluorescent light bulbs.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying. He's just looking at me, just shaking his head yes and no.
What you doing, Scott?
Yeah. But it is a great event. I mean, it really is. And just tell us a little bit about the event, Scott.
What I always like to tell people, if there's something you've got that's questionable, that you're afraid to put in your normal household trash, bring it. If we can't take it that day, we'll find a place for it. This is to help the community out. We don't want this stuff sitting around for children to get into, for pets to get into.
In our waterways.
In our waterways. So if you've got something that's bothering you, or you think it might be poisonous, or you think it might be, that you can't put it in your trash, bring it. We'll find a place for it.
Now, one thing that seems to be questionable sometimes is, oil-based paints versus latex paints. They do not accept latex paints.
That's right. Latex paint is not hazardous. To get rid of latex paint, all you have to do is open the lid, put a little bit of cat litter in it or sand, leave the lid off. In 3 days, it'll be hard as a brick, and you can just throw that in your regular trash can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but any oil base, it will never become a solid.
Right.
So we actually collect that, and then they take all this stuff and they actually burn it in a enclosed chamber, and it's the safe way to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Mercury thermometers, that's always big for us. Nobody knows what to do with mercury. We'll take mercury.
Last year, I couldn't believe how many tube TVs.
Yes.
I mean, they were spilling out of the dump truck. They were spilling out of a trailer. I couldn't believe there's that many tube TVs still out there, but there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anything you've got in question, bring it. We'll find a place for it.
But
Pesticides.
Yes. Any
Pesticides.
type of pesticides,
Yeah.
Herbicides, anything.
and if somebody wants to call a number and ask about the event,
Yeah, call
Where-
859-624-4709, and they'll be glad to go over the list of things that we do and do not accept.
yeah, it's good. Again, this is our household hazardous waste event. It'll be this Saturday, October 1st, from 9 to 3 at 208 Clarksville Lane, which is Road Department South. Second annual, this is exciting, another great event this week. You can go by and drop off your household hazardous waste and then come back to Richmond for their second annual Millstone Festival. That'll be held this Saturday, October 1st. It'll be on Main Street, downtown Richmond. So Main Street will be shut off. So if you don't want to come to the Millstone Festival, you might not want to come downtown because there might be a little bit of traffic. Madison County MAC SEP and the Animal Shelter will be having a booth set up at the festival as well. I think we're having an adoption day. Are we going to have our trailer there? Is that right?
The trailer is going to be there.
Will you come up? Sorry. We want to make sure everybody hears you.
So this is a decision that we've gone back and forth on. The trailer is going to be there. The city wants to utilize it, to kind of block the road. We're happy to help with that. But because the trailer is going to be there from the very beginning of the festival till everybody else is gone, we are not going to have animals just because that's a very long, extended time to have them in that trailer without
I got
any
you.
sort of.
Yeah, makes sense.
So the trailer will be there. People can see it, and we'll be set up with info, but we won't be doing adoptions that day.
Okay. All right. That's great. Thank you, Katie. Appreciate it. Also, contact Richmond Park and Recreations for any other kind of information about the Millstone Festival. Last year was the first time they'd ever had it, and it was a wonderful success. And looking more forward to it this year because I think you'll have even a lot bigger turnout. There'll be a lot more vendors this year. Paint Lick's annual Village Fest will be Saturday, also October 1st. There'll be a craft and vendor booth open at 10 a.m. and the car show begins at 9 a.m. Berea Baptist Church will host their first Art for the Heart show on October the 7th through October the 9th from 6 to 8 p.m. each night at the church. They invite the community to come out and learn about the Christian message showcased through art created by their congregation. The Boone Way US 25 yard sale will be Friday, October the 7th and Saturday, October the 8th through the middle of Madison County. Please be mindful of traffic along US 25 those 2 days. And then Boonesboro Boogie Car Show. I'm sure you've been to that, Raj. Boogie Car Show will be Friday, October 7th through Sunday, October the 9th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And that'll be at the Fort Boonesboro State Park. So we have a lot of wonderful community events that are coming up. So anybody that is interested in any of those or would like to participate, it's always good to come out and get to see friends and meet new faces. Next is comments from magistrates. How about you, John? I don't know where I started or stopped last time, so.
I received a message this morning from our state road superintendent, Brandon McIntosh. He said out on College Hill Road, they're building the shoulder up on 2 different locations where there was a lot of accidents. That work is going on as we speak and should be blacktopped over within the next day or two. So just use caution out there. He also reminded me that the state contractors are back on state roads mowing for the last time before the season's over. So you'll see on the interstate, on the state highways, mowing crews. So just use your caution as you pass those vehicles and give them a little room. I attended the Waco Fall Festival this Friday night, and it was a huge event. The first time ever it was open to the public. Normally it's just open for school personnel and their families, but this time it was open to the public. Several hundred people were there, and they held it out behind the school, and a lot of events for kids and so forth, jumping, playing events, and a great turnout. Ms. Cromer was glad to see a good turnout from the community out there. I think everything went well out there, and they raised quite a bit of money for their school out there. That's all I got, Joe.
Thanks, John. Tom?
I'm gonna be short today, Judge, because I've had some comments here today before court started, but maybe I ramble too long when I'm giving out these, so, isn't that right? We show hands on that, no hands, all right, no. I was lying, I'm gonna talk for 30 minutes. I'd like to start out by just saying, if you don't listen to nothing else, listen to this. Starting tonight and tomorrow night from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., the state will be out repairing the concrete on Fort Estill Bridge. There will be flagmen out there, so please be aware. Traffic will be backed up there, so if you don't have to be on 25, stay away from 6 to 10. It's going to be heavy.
Hey, will you tell where the Fort Estill Bridge is? Because some people might not know.
Yes, on US 25, coming south out of Richmond. It's up on top of the hill where the grocery warehouse.
H.T. Hackney.
Yes, thank you. Where the Hackney warehouse used to be on the right-hand side. It's also the bridge that goes over the railroad track that goes into the depot. That's how they get access for their rail cars in there. So from 6 to 10 tonight and tomorrow night, They will be doing bridge repair. Judge, they're slope mowing today down on Poozy. They've been down there for the last 2 days. Brandon told me they hope to be finished down there today and moving that on to somewhere else. So, and he also wanted me to thank you for helping them get the slope mower down there. We've only got one that's broken, so he appreciated that. Blacktop will be going down soon. Scott, has it started yet?
It is not, hopefully by the end of this week or the first of next week.
All right, so soon Blacktop will be going down, so please be aware if you live in one of the neighborhoods that's getting that, and try to keep your vehicles off the street while they're doing that. Also, I'd like to say that campaigning has begun. So I have a gray Ford truck with a billboard down the sides of it. If you see that on the highway, please keep your eyes open, because I stop in just a heartbeat, and don't run over me or my family. Normally my wife's chauffeur's driving, and but we make really fast stops and really quick turns into driveways, and that's not to me. There'll be other folks out campaigning, and we just want you to be aware. When we're out knocking on doors, we do things that's crazy behind the wheel. So please just give us just an ounce of caution with that. Judge, I got to go to the last CSEP exercise, and I want you to know that I saw some of our folks out there. Chief was out there, Dustin was out there. I was really impressed with the way that was run, Dustin. It was a great job. Of course, everybody sends, the hospitals, the police departments, there's lots of folks that come in. We had a lot of visitors this time from Colorado and from Washington, D.C. that had came down for this exercise. And it was Dustin, you represent the county very well with that. I had mentioned to you and Wendy, you were part of it, was awesome as well. Judge and I just happened to be over there when you were giving a briefing. One of the things that I would like to see in one of the future exercises is that the ship runs great when the captain's there. While you're all there, it was fantastic. I'd like to see what happens one time when the captain cannot make it, or he gets caught in traffic, or he's injured, or he gets the flu, and see how the number 2 carries the load. Because there's a lot of things that could happen when the real thing, should it ever happen, that you won't be able to plan for. You can't plan for panic. You can't plan for people. I mean, people are just crazy. It's all there is to it. And especially when you add something like that into the mix. So just think about that. Scott, thank you for you and the road department. I call Scott all the time for things that need to be fixed, and he's very good about responding to those things. The citizens and those in the 4th District appreciate that. I appreciate that. So thank you very much. And Glenna, I want to thank you today. When we go across the reports for finance, I inevitably call Glenna 2 or 3 times and ask her about something that's on there. She always has a really good answer for that, and I certainly appreciate that, Glenna. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. John,
And
you got?
one more thing, Judge. Should anybody else need to get a hold of me, they can reach me at 200-9765.
Judge, I had one more quick comment. I'd received several calls about the overgrown brush in the curve on 4 Mile Road. It's very dangerous, and I called Scott, and he sent one of her slope mower guys out there. I want to give a big shout out to Charlie Hunter. Did a great job. He's really get proficient on that slope mower and does a good job. Stayed out of the fences. They were able to keep the traffic off of him and the curve, and it looks so much better, and getting a lot of good comments on that mowing out there on that curve. So I appreciate you, Scott. Tell Charlie I said appreciate him.
Is that the boom mower? Boom mower, yeah, good.
Judge, I did have one more thing I was gonna say. I wanted to also.
We'll get to you guys in just a minute here.
Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. I wanted to thank Brandon and our jailer back here. Our inmate crews that have been going out working on the roads, especially down in Kingston, on OUS 25. We had a couple of really bad places down there where the line of sight had just gone to 0. And I called Brandon and the inmate crews done out there, and I'm telling you, them guys done a fantastic job. I mean, I really appreciated everything that they've done out there. So, thank you, Steve.
You're welcome. Y'all done?
We're good.
You're good.
I think I'm done this time.
All right, let's get over to the 1st and 2nd district here.
Where we going first?
We're going with me?
Yeah.
All right. So I want to discuss briefly, about the slope mowing, and I've gotten, as I, mentioned when Representative Wesley was here, that constituents' most important road is the one that they drive on every day. That's a fact, and that's the one that I get calls on all the time. And I've gotten several calls out in the Red Lick area about some slope mowing being done to help visibility, as well as some other mowing to be done, along the side of the highways. And I've talked with District 7, and their plan is to get out there just as soon as possible. So, also to the folks in Red Lick, there's going to be some paving that's going to be going on here pretty soon, probably if not this week, next week. So get ready. Let's see here. I also wanted to discuss kind of briefly House Bill 220. It was a shame that it didn't get out of or whatever, because as I've said here since roughly December 14th, the county jail is something that that we have to do something about, as opposed to continually kicking the can. I don't know what that answer is, and I'm open to any suggestions or ideas, but House Bill 220 was one that when we went there on Magistrate Days, both me and John Tudor talked with every one of our representatives that touch Madison County in the 1st District about the fact that we have inmates that are incarcerated, and they may be in there for months, and what this particular bill was going to do was to reimburse the counties for that time served. It's disappointing that it didn't make it, and I'm hoping that our representatives in Madison County can get some traction behind that, and help us with some of the expenses that we have with the county jail. I also wanted to mention on a personal note, and I didn't get to mention it when the Paint the Town Pink is, as someone who has been personally affected by breast cancer within my family, I can tell you that it's definitely a cause that I support wholeheartedly. I tell people all the time that breast cancer is not the death sentence that it used to be, and that the various chemo drugs and all the other drugs that we have that are out there are really doing great things, and the research that has been done and all the data that has been gained is absolutely fantastic. So it's something that's near and dear to my heart. I will be there Saturday for the kickoff, and I hope that you all are as well at Baptist Health at noon. I know there's a lot of stuff going on, and we got to pick and choose which one we're going to do, and if you can make them all, then make them all. But I can tell you, I will definitely be at the one at Baptist House. That's all I got.
Thanks, buddy. You're welcome. Raj?
Well, I'm going to talk about the jail. And this is notes from 3 or 4 years back, but I'm not going to be outdone and not say nothing after they wore it out over there. No, I just kidding. But anyway, this is notes that I had from a conference that we went to, and I'd say it's at least 3 or 4 years ago. And Steve might be able to tell me a little closer, but this is where I put down, there's 40 jails that closed at that time, and that leaves only 80 jails open for all those inmates. These inmates that they're getting today are technology experienced inmates. So they come up with devices and whatever that used to they didn't even have to deal with, so it's just a harder thing to keep up with. I'm sure Steve sees all this every day.
Tattoo guns.
Yeah, and the bed allotment at that time was $32. How far is that back then? It's $35 now, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. More state inmates in county jails than there is state prisoners. We're taking care of more inmates than the state prisons are. These are all things that's costing our counties and the state money. But we incarcerate the crime, but we don't fix the problem. And the problem's not up to us. They go to court, and a lot of times they just send them out, and they're back with us in 2 to 3 weeks.
Roger, just a ballpark number on those state inmates. The Department of Corrections in Kentucky has 22,000 inmates. 11,000 of those are in the county jail somewhere.
Right. And I've got here that you've got to have 3 state inmates to pay the way for 1 county unit. That's the ratio. That's what it was back then. This guy that put on this is Mike Simpson. You know Mike Simpson?
Very well.
He's a ball fireman. He
Yeah.
was talking about.
Mike has since retired. He's an Oldham County jailer.
Okay. Okay. They spend 21,000, at this time, they're spending 21,000 per inmate. We only spend 6,500 on our children in the state of Kentucky each year. So it, I mean, you can talk about these things all day and it don't help, you know, something's gotta be done. I mean, the county levels, we're not by ourselves. I mean, all the counties are probably in trouble because of just how many they have to take care of. And I asked Steve probably 4 or 5 months ago what I said a while ago. I said, how long are some of them in there? And he said, you can let them out and in 3 to 4 weeks they're back. Same offense. I don't know the answer, and if we knew the answer, we'd try to fix it. But, you know, I just think something's gotta be done.
Our recidivism rate has gone down, Roger. We were at almost 85% of return, the people that's went out the back door coming back within a few days. That number's down now, down in the 60s. So we are slowly making an impact.
That's good. That's good.
And you, and Steve, I think it'd be good too to just hit on that a little bit, just since we're in discussion. This is important. But it's a lot of the programs that you've added.
Yes.
A lot of the folks that you've got coming in. I mean, the road to recovery.
Road to recovery is,
recovery program and just.
Voices of Hope is we have a peer counselor on site at the jail, which is paid for by a grant from the University of Kentucky. They meet with all the inmates and give them life skills before they're released. So they have the housing skills and financial and family planning and all those things before they go out the door so that they're more apt to be successful.
And the judge asked me, and I told him I probably wouldn't say nothing, but it's worth saying something about Forness Park, that was a magistrate for 17 years. He sat in my spot, 2nd District. I took his place. They dedicated a part of Tates Creek Road in his honor, Forness Park Memorial Highway. And I don't know how quick the signs go up.
They're up.
Are they up?
They put them up the next day.
I hadn't noticed. But Forness was a dear friend to me, a mentor. Wrote to Valley View Ferry meetings with him, and we had a lot of good talks. But he was always in my corner. He'd say, I watched you on TV, I like what you said about this, or, you know, I know what the group did, you know. And he kept up with it still after he was out of office. He kept up with it as much as he could. But he was a great mentor to me and a brother in Christ. And it was a good honor for him. That's all I got.
Thanks, Raj. Appreciate it. Jenny? Kenny?
Yeah, I got some dates to go before I get fussed at again.
Okay.
I'm ready this time too. Yep, I got them right here so I can read them, I can't get them wrong. Absentee, requests for absentee ballots open on Saturday. We had 135 requests come in on Saturday that we got out yesterday, so that's pretty good for what, I mean, that'll taper, but looks like we're gonna have a pretty good turnout. And that portal closes on the 25th of October. Last day to register to vote is October 10th at 4 o'clock. You can request an absentee ballot or register to vote, change your, whatever you want to change, on govote.ky.gov.
You want to say it again?
Govote.ky.gov. Well, I get it wrong first time? Oh. Walk-in excused absentee, that's if you're going to be out of town or there's something else going on, is going to be October 26th to the 28th and October 31st to November 2nd, 8 to 4:30 here in the courthouse. Early voting again is November 3rd, 4th, and 5th, 8 to 4 p.m. and then election day is 6 to 6 on November 8th.
All right. Thank you. Sherry? Yeah.
I just want to remind the court that our 4 new school resource officers are in place. Kirksville, Kingston, Waco, and Boonesboro. Judge Taylor and I have met with school board, or not school board, but superintendent of schools, Mr. Gillum, as well as assistant Mr. Neely, Randy Neely. We have a memorandum of understanding in place. They are at work, and I just think that this is great, that 4 schools that fall within the county that we were able to partnership up with and make this thing
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Thank you, Sheriff. Appreciate it. Steve?
No, sir.
You good? All right, I do, for the record, I do want to make one comment. I misspoke, and I appreciate Roger pushing me in his comments, and he corrected me, and I never want to misspeak. I think that it's very important for all of us as elected officials that we always talk the facts. And last court, when we were talking about the zone change, I thought, and I truly did think that 52 was in the 6-year road plan about expansion. It was in the 6-year road plan, and we had discussed it. We've pushed for it. It's been on the list to get in the 6-year road plan, but I called Kelly Baker after the meeting because I don't ever want to misspeak or give a false perception, and it did not get enough points because of how expensive that project is. We are going to continue to advocate as county judge, Scott, and I've already discussed it as him as our road supervisor. We're going to continue to advocate for 52 expansion. It needs it. And as that part of the county continues to grow with that harvest, with the confusion right there at the bypass in 52, we're going to continue to advocate for that. But I really thought it was in the 6-year old plan, and it was not. And so for the record, for somebody that likes the facts, if you like the facts, you also are okay with say when you misspeak, right? And so I misspoke, and I want the court to know, and I want to correct myself. So, okay. And Robin, thank you, because I told you after the meeting that I want to say it. She sent me a text to remind me, so I appreciate that. Comments from department heads? Don't y'all all get up at once. All right, we're good. Comments from the audience?
I think we had a comment.
Oh, we
from,
did?
I think we had one department head want to speak. Oh, you were standing up like that. I thought you were coming to talk.
No, but I think Tom has a question.
Okay.
Maybe that's probably the better way.
Thank you. I was just wondering if you would give us just a quick update on the broadband issue.
On the broadband issue.
Yes, sir.
This is our favorite topic. It's an important topic, right? I think it's important to note that there is a lot going on with broadband. There's
Well, before we start, I want to, it's called a broadband plan,
plan, yeah. I
not
like
a
it.
broadband issue. Yeah.
We don't like issues. Challenge.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it, broadband expansion, right? There's currently 3,300 homes that are under construction through some various method, right? Either that's RDOF funds, that's the KDBF state funds that Spectrum got, it's under Windstream RDOF funds, whatever it may be. That's an important topic to make sure that we bring up. When we started this conversation, how about that? We were somewhere in the neighborhood of 5,000 residents that had no access to any internet service. With those pools of money that have been released, 3,300 of those people have been addressed. Now, they may not have service as of today, but they are in the allotments of one of those grant fundings to be served by somebody. What is remaining that we know of as today is about 1,100 residents in the southern portion of the county that do not currently have a provider, I guess, listed to them at this point. And that's where All Points comes into the conversation. We all know that we've gone through the extensive study of trying to figure out exactly who those folks are that need service and what that looks like. We have a low-level design back from All Points with the number of residents. They're currently calculating what we call long drops because most of these folks that are left are the ones that nobody wants to get to, right? They're the guys that live 5, 6, 7,000 feet off the road, and the ones you hear about that say, well, they'll give me service, but I got to spend $25,000 to get it, right? Those are the people now really that are left to address. So All Points at our request has gone back to look at the long drops to tell us exactly how many of those people fall within a certain, how many are inside that 500-foot buffer, how many are in the 1,500-foot buffer, so that we know moving forward, are these customers going to be able to afford to do that? Now, there is grant funding that is being released. It's been announced for long drops to assist with that, to help citizens that are in those long drop areas. So once we kind of get that data back, we'll know from an All Point standpoint, hey, it's 1,100 people and we got X that are going to have trouble getting long drops to them, and then we will, work through that with the grant funding to do long drops to get that assisted. So what we learned from the study is there's 1,100 folks left. The low-level design has been done, but most of our folks, because we I'm not saying drag our feet, but we've been diligent in our process, have been picked up by Spectrum through the KDBF grant that we supported. They've been picked up by AT&T. And the northern end, there were quite a few people that needed service, and what we found was Spectrum and AT&T went to bat, and they fought each other for them, and they ran cable there, even though they were never going to, right? Through our process, that is what's happened, and that's kind of what they've had to do, because they've realized that, hey, if you want the business of those customers, you're going to have to fight for them. And they pretty much filled that northern end in. So the county is looking at, for broadband expansion, really through all points, is really the southern portion of Madison County and the hardest ones to get to. So that's where we're at. The judge and I and Jill will have to have a meeting about exactly what the next steps are moving forward with that information, but the last thing we're waiting for is long drop information.
Thank you. Chris, who does someone call if they're somewhere in the middle, say they've got Spectrum on one side and AT&T on the other, and neither one of them wants to come meet in the middle and connect for them?
So probably the best thing to do is to reach out to the judge's office and speak with Robin.
Okay.
Robin, unfortunately, has become very versed in RDOF and KDBF and broadband things. She answers a lot of questions from citizens. They can put the specific address in and tell them whether or not they are currently served by Windstream or AT&T on our maps, Clay. Or they could, we also can tell them if they fall in the RDOF funding or if they fall in KDBF, and kind of give them some guidance. If they fall in one of those areas that we're not really sure about, Robin is more than happy, and so is the judge's office, to make contact to one of those government relations liaisons with those partners to find out what exactly it is. And the ones you're speaking of is on Concord.
Mm-hmm.
There's a section of the road that actually the maps that Spectrum sent to us show is served by Spectrum, but your resident says that they are not, and they're in this weird gap. So
Maybe 5 or 6 in one
Yeah.
area about a mile. This is no good.
right, and that would never be somewhere that all points would go, right? I mean, why would we run all new infrastructure to to the middle of a Spectrum area? So what we can do is put pressure on those folks, at Spectrum or AT&T, whoever it may be, to get those houses served. And they've been very responsive to our requests for those kinds of things, and like, hey, you're right here, why are you not over there? Yep, you're right. And they'll come back and backfill that for us. So I would say reach out to the judge's office is your best avenue there.
Thanks.
I think that's an issue, Judge, that we definitely want to keep a good tight handle on, because as I've been going around knocking on doors and stuff, a lot of folks I've ran into are in that situation. Some folks down on Walt Meadow Pike fall into that. Judge, I know you've addressed that with Windstream a month or so ago, but we as we initially started out on that, one of the things that we had set aside was that we have ARPA funds to make those connections with. And, when this project's all said and done, I don't want to get to the end of this and turn around and find out that we missed somebody.
Yep.
I mean, that's the worst thing can happen, because if you remember, COVID started all this. We sent a bunch of children home to remote learn, only to find out half of them couldn't connect to the internet. And we definitely.
You're
want to,
exactly right, and the whole goal is to leave nobody behind, right? That sounds like the wrong phrasing, but
That's it.
when we're done, everybody's gonna have internet. And I think it's just noted that there's some counties that have initiated broadband plans and have put stuff into place. They don't have the first customer served through that either. So in all respects, where it looks like we may be behind, we're actually ahead. We signed that letter of support with Spectrum that actually let them put shovels in the ground with no money from us. So we're actually getting people connected. And that's a kudos to us, because there are other counties that have done things and we still have not served the first customer through those plans. So it may seem like it's been a long, arduous process, and it has been, but we're making progress.
But patience pays off a lot of times.
Absolutely.
And, we could have, just
Throw money at it.
jumped in it and said, all right, we're gonna sign this contract, and it'd be this big PR thing, and we wouldn't be any better off. But
We'd spend a whole lot more money too.
And we'd have duplicated services. I mean, this money we get is still tax dollars. And as long as I'm here, we're always gonna protect tax dollars, no matter where they come from, whether it's federal, state, whether it's our local dollars. And so by being patient has allowed us to allow these other providers and to go in and put shovels in the ground, but us not following up duplicating services, so.
Really is a team effort from all of those incumbents, plus what we have to do to get the people that they just can't naturally serve.
Yeah. It's
Well,
good.
When we first started too, the Kentucky funds weren't available to us, so that was a new pot of money that came online after we got rolling on, so.
And they've already set up for the
It's
next
what we've
round.
done. I mean, Glenn and I talked about this numerous times about the ARPA funds. I mean, it's what we've done. It's not what we have done, it's that we've been patient, because all those rules, when y'all remember, they first came out, then they kept changing, and I just said, hey, let's be patient. And it's paid off. Let's set them back in their own account, and let's try to leverage these funds to maximize to the best that we can maximize for our citizens. So
Yeah, and every day there's a new grant. I get an email from Jill or Reagan that, you know, it's, hey, such and such is gonna give X million dollars. So the money's coming from the federal government to really solve this problem. So maybe that'll let you keep your dollars in your pocket and do it for something else that we need, but
You
we're
sure
on the
got
move.
one from me this morning about 2 a.m.
You did, I responded.
I said
But
you
it wasn't internet, that was cybersecurity, which is my other favorite
Yeah,
topic.
it's still money, it's still grant.
It is
I
money.
mean, it's money.
Well, so Chris, you know, I appreciate, you know, the work that's been done on this, and I know that the, you know, the folks in the county have as well. So when I look at, you know, and hear that, you know, and realize that it's the southern end of the county, that is right now underserved, and there's, you know, the long drops and all that, and I get that, and I'm not confused by it. What do I tell those folks, you know, in southern Madison County on, you know, when they should expect, you know, reliable broadband to their house?
I would hate to commit a date.
Well, a ballpark.
But a ballpark is, since that design is back, you know, sometime before the end of this year, we should know what that's gonna cost us and what the game plan is. The hope is that somebody comes in and picks those up, other than us having to fork out that money, but it's probably not likely. So I know they wanna wait, I know they need the internet, we know how important it is, but we gotta make sure we're doing our due diligence and make sure that there's not another opportunity that lies ahead to have that paid for in another manner. So that's where we're working, but I would just say, please be
But this
patient with
court will
us.
know, I mean, this court will know, because we're gonna be, I mean, once we really figure it all out, then we'll be presenting that plan to this court, and this court will actually be voting on it, to move forward.
Yeah, and I think the other unfortunate part is when you say go, you're still 18 to 24 months before those folks may see it. Now, they want to move fast, All Points does, and they have access to the, you know, infrastructure to do it, and they're prepared to do it, but it's still it's just the way it is. So even if we told you it was January 1st, you know, they could still be 12 to 18 months before they see it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to clarify the difference too between the ones that 1,100 are unserved versus underserved, correct?
Yeah, because the 1,100 left in All Points are unserved residences, right? Those are zero service as of today. Those are the folks that we're most interested in. Spectrum picked up a lot of those in RDOF on the far eastern and western boundaries. They were pretty smart in their plan. They then stepped in and applied for KDBF funds right along their RDOF funds. Made a lot of sense. They use federal dollars to build their network out. They use state funds to build that in, and then they're kind of squeezing down on that. But these folks that are left, they're just not going to get to, because they're the most uneconomical ones to get to, right? We got two people down a 5-mile road. They don't want to run fiber down that street. They just don't want to. But that's why these federal funds are being made available, and we'll use them appropriately to close that gap. So I know it's been a long time. It feels like a long time, and I wish I could just stand up here and sign a check and solve the problem, but it just doesn't work that way. So just tell them to please be patient, and that this court will know when the plan is ready. You guys will be the ones voting on it and executing to move forward.
Okay, thank you.
I know it's not a good answer, but it's
I mean,
kind of where we are.
It's where we are, and it is what it is at this point, right?
Yep.
Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Anything else, court members? I need a motion to pay the claims and approve the transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckett?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. All right, I gotta look at something here, 'cause now I'm confused. All right, our next court meeting is October the 11th, 2022. It'll be right here in Richmond. Again, that'll be at 9:30, October 11th, 2022, right back here in Richmond. I need a motion and second to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckett?
Yes.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Five, yes.
Yep, I do.